Hi, Steve Ray here with another episode of Park Bench Pittsfield. And today I'm here with the staff of Devanny-Condron on Maplewood Ave here in downtown Pittsfield. Thanks for having us over, guys. On this snowy day, it happens to be a blizzard going on outside, but you wouldn't know that in here. It's nice and warm and comfortable. Um, Corey, John, Caroline, thanks for coming on.
Appreciate the opportunity.
So, tell us a little bit about Devanny-Condron.
I arrived here September 4th of 1978, and I have been here for longer than I care to count. I don't know where it goes sometimes. I think you probably feel the same way in terms of your career. But I've been blessed because I've had great mentors. I've had great associates because you can't do this all by yourself. And we are proud of the fact that we listen loudly to people, hear what their need is, and then try to make sure that that is actually governing each and every one of our actions.
So we've officially dispelled the rumor that you've been here since 1915 yourself.
Yes, Corey thinks that sometimes, but that's accurate. That's right.
So then you go out into school to become a licensed funeral director?
And I went on to school after I had my baccalaureate degree. I graduated from Siena, went back to school. The school that I graduated from called the Institute of Anatomy and Mortuary Science. The school then morphed to Mount Ida College, where it became one of the many program disciplines that were taught under the umbrella of Mount Ida College. Unfortunately, the college closed in May of 2018, but I was fortunate enough to be able to be asked to become a faculty member back in 2001. And quite honestly, you're looking at the wonderful product of a portion of my teaching experience. I had both Caroline and Corey as students.
Oh, is that right? So you guys are both licensed funeral directors. And how long have you been in the business now?
I've been just nearly about 8 years, maybe almost 9. Yeah, been licensed for about 5. I did.
I've been in, 6 years now, and I've been licensed for almost 2. Yeah, coming up this March will be 2. 2
So,
years.
well, that's very interesting. So you moved to Pittsfield from the other end of the state.
Yeah.
What-
Corey's from Maine.
And Corey's from Maine. So
Yes.
Corey might be more used to Pittsfield than you.
Yes,
But
very
at the
much
end of the day, how have you found that to be as a young professionals in Pittsfield? Because we have a history of people going away to school
Yeah.
and not coming back. Not so much when John and I were younger, but that's certainly we see going on today. So if you could speak to that for a minute.
Yeah, we've constantly heard families come in and tell us that, their kids, they're out of town, they're in different states. And, people, I think, have really liked the fact that we came here, we've settled here, we bought a house together here. And we're really trying to involve ourselves in the community because young people, there's not that much of a draw to keep people here. And we're really fortunate to have been able to move to such a great community that is so close knit and tight knit, and we're just lucky to be here.
Yeah, and that's it. Opportunities, professional opportunities do exist out here.
Yeah,
Much,
you have to find them.
You just have to find them. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's great stuff. So I can tell you that as I prepare to come over to any business or have them in our office, usually ahead of time we know something about their business and are more familiar with it than I really am about the funeral business. Now, I've obviously been, unfortunately, to many funerals here and everywhere else, and my own family, but we don't really understand, I think, one business to another, the business aspect of it, and maybe if somebody could speak to that for a minute.
As I've always tried to tell people, there's a responsibility, as I was taught, there's a responsibility for you to make some margin. Obviously, you're running a building that is hard asset heavy. Your building, your automobile equipment, those kinds of things. I mean, obviously those things require attention, financing, and all of that. So that margin will also ensure that you're going to be here for the future, since like 15 actually, for the future needs of your community. So we try to turn around, be sensitive to that, and I think listen to what people are today drawn to in terms of the many options that are available to them. I think funeral service as a whole, no secret, has changed in terms of funeral services, which would be, heavy organed, quite somber, to now people, they really would like to have a celebration of their life and have their story told. There's all kinds of ways to be able to do that, be it earth burial or be it cremation-oriented families. So I think that's the thing that actually excites us, is helping people turn around and best honor their family member.
So the consumer today is changing your business just like ours, in the sense that it's demanding a newer approach to the services, and I think that's an interesting thing to understand. I know in my industry we spend a lot of time educating first-time home buyers, but I've noticed lately that a lot of the things you're putting out there are really educational in the sense that they're helping people like me understand.
I think you just said it best. When consumers now are inquisitive, they are forward in their questions. I talk about funeral service many times. Is this is one of the last of the taboo subjects. People don't have that particular initial fear of asking, and I have to tell them right up front: isn't it best to learn and ask a question before the need to ask that question? And I think that helps people understand and make better informed decisions.
I'm sure you've had a lot of memorable experiences, and maybe if you could speak to that, is there anything that sticks out in your mind, a memorable experience that either surprised you or those things that I suppose in your business that happens on a regular basis, though, huh?
To an extent, coming from a different part of the state, I think really as a whole, just moving out to Pittsfield and learning about the different families in Berkshire County, I think people here are genuinely more kind, appreciative of the things that we're doing for them. John's taught us that even though Pittsfield's a city, it's a small town. And I think that just it's really amazing to actually truly see that people treat it that way. Whereas, I worked in Worcester for a long time, and it was more so people, they come in, they leave, faceless almost. Whereas here, you run into people all the time, and just getting to know everybody, I think that's pretty memorable for
More
all of
sense
us.
of the community.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
completely.
So maybe, Caroline, you could share with the audience something that we don't really know about your business, either Devanny-Condron or your business in general.
I think one of the biggest things that we try and do here at Devanny's is to be able to make things as personal as we can for people. I think that really it's important to be able to listen to what families need, and to be able to, whether it's a DVD piece and, people bring in hold home videos, we can incorporate that. Your wedding song, that can be incorporated somehow. That's really just the biggest thing about our business here is we want to make it about you, about your family, and how you want it to be.
So like a wedding, you can personalize this aspect
Why
of the
not?
service.
Absolutely.
See, and that's something I think that not a lot of people, I can tell you, I didn't understand that before you came in here. Though
Absolutely.
I've been to my share where you see a video going by on the screen, but
Yeah.
it's really what you want.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll see now today where people in that theme of celebrations, etc., the point is theme. And you'll see folks who were huge golf fans, or they were great grandpas, and they were always known for going to grandpas to get Twizzlers and orange slices.
Right. You can incorporate
My
all
brother
those
Bob's
things.
piece right there was a huge sports fan, and instead of having a register book out, I bought dozens of baseballs, and people signed them essentially for that. So the things that I think make it more meaningful, people, are really what we're striving to do. You tell me what you think you want to do, and that may include, leading the funeral service in the guy who owned the construction and paving company in his pickup truck with the lights going and the plow on the front. you know what? The older I get, the more I realize there really are no rules. Tell me what's going to work for you, and let's do it.
So we've been familiar with the comfort and that aspect of the services you provide, but it's really changing that. Oh, that's great stuff. So, anything coming up you want to share that we should know about? I know you have some sort of a tree ceremony. Corey, please.
Corey was the man that actually erected the 7-foot plus tree. We placed it at St. Joseph's Cemetery. What are we asking people to do, Corey?
We are actually asking people to bring their own ornaments over to the tree with either just a special symbolism of someone who they've lost or anything like that, just to help memorialize them for the holidays.
That's
And I think that's really important because people really feel a lasting loss, and especially during the holidays.
Let's say, so where's this tree, Corey?
It's actually in front of the St. Joseph's Cemetery office, their main office.
In front of the main office,
Yeah.
St. Joseph Cemetery, up on Peck's Road.
Yep.
You can bring your own ornament.
We'll furnish one if need
You'll
be.
furnish one
If you're
need
not
be.
able to get out, sure.
And what a great service. And is there right up until Christmas that goes?
Correct. We'll leave that up to Little Christmas. So we'll leave that up through into them, and people will invite them if you care to. You can remove the ornament if you'd like to keep it, or we will, in fact, dismantle it at that particular point in time, and we'd have them.
Well, it's been an interesting few minutes here talking to you. And I really appreciate you giving us some insight. Now, check down below on the site. After you watch this video, there's going to be more content about Devanny-Condron and more information about the tree lighting ceremony will also be on there, and your ability to go up and hang an ornament. Thank you for having us in today, and
Steve, thanks
giving
for
us some insight into your business.
Appreciate that.
And I can tell you, my own personal experience is that if you ever have the need, and we hope you don't, make sure you check these people out. It's more than just a funeral service. It's a relationship that probably you'll remember forever, really. And I really thank you for doing what you do for the community. And John,
Steve, that's very kind. I will,
smart of you to bring on some younger people. You're gonna have to pass the torch someday here.
you know what? At the age that I'm at right now, I might be certainly a half step slower than these two young bright stars. Very proud of them individually. They are part of the community, working in the community. Caroline's too bashful. She, in actuality, is volunteering with Berkshire Search and Rescue. It has been out in the worst of weather, morning, noon, night, etc. Corey's offered his services for the big project they're doing down there in terms of Habitat for Humanity. So
No kidding.
they're engaged, and we appreciate that particular level.
Well, that's probably one of the best things that come out of this is to see two young people come to this community, actually invest in this community, see the good side of what we do. There's not enough of you, so call your friends, bring more. And check back Park Bench Pittsfield. We're going to have them back. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Appreciate it.